Good evening again, guys. We are looking this evening at task 11. All right. Let's see if we can get a reader to help us with task 11 to begin the process here. Let me just check my participants list and see. I see the usual people, Mr. Lee, Miss Johnson. They're always ready, but we'd like to see if we can get someone else this evening to help us with this. Feeling that we go back to the tried and proven. Anybody else? Remember that we have to read our task so that we are better able to understand what it is that we are being asked to do. Still the same people. Still the same. All right, Miss Thorpe. Miss Thorpe has joined the party of people who want to participate. Miss Thorpe, could you read the task for me? You have your book with you, so we can just look at the skills that they are talking about first. What skills, Miss Thorpe, are needed for this particular exercise?
Sir, the skills are, it says use the information below to complete the given task. Antonio had $800. He spent three-eighths of it at break time on fruits. Christine bought a slice of cake. It cost the same amount as Antonio spent on fruits. She is now left with 2/5 of the amount she originally had. How much money does Antonia have left? Show how you arrived at your answer.
All right, so let's go back to the skills. I was asking about the skills. For this particular task, what they're testing, in some things that we have done recently, we have had a heavy emphasis on area, perimeter, and evening class now we're looking at volume, just to make sure that if any of those topics come up, we can address those topics in a meaningful way, getting all the marks that we should. In this particular task now, we are moving to look at fractions. Let me get some color on the pen here. Fractions and money. So we have to know about fractions and we have to know about money. Here are some conditions that were given. So something with Antonio, something with Kristen. Seeing that? Let's see if we can get a move on this now, Miss Thorpe. Let's see if Miss Thorpe can take a crack at this one. So Antonio had $800 and spent 3/8 of it at break time on fruits. Some people like to go down and they get a little apple or a tangerine at break time. So something similar to this, but 3/8 of the money. How much money does she have left? How much money does she have left? Help me now, Miss Thorpe. Let's go with this. What would you do? What's your thinking on this one?
Sir, I haven't done task 11 yet, sir, so you'd have to help me through it, sir.
All right. Take a lifeline. Find someone in the class who is a lifeline who would help you. Yes, we know some of you have not touched the exercise yet. No problem. We'll work through it as a group as best as we can. Pick someone.
Sir, Alan, sir.
All right. Mr. Lee, you have been so called.
Yes, sir. So for the first one, for number one, is how much money does Antonio have left? Show how you arrived at your answer. So first, sir, it says that Antonio had $800 and then he spent 3/8 of it. So we have to we'll put 800 over 1 like it's a fraction, and we are going to multiply by 3/8. So 800 over 1 times 3/8. And we would have gotten $300.
Hold it. Let's make sure everybody is following. Miss Thorpe. So he has the $800, and we're going to multiply it by the fraction 3/8 to find out what part of the money is represented by the fraction 3/8. So 8 into 8 goes 1 no, Mr. Lee. And 8 into 800 will go how many times?
100 times.
100 times. Miss Thorpe, 100 times 3 would give me what? Come now, miss. Come. I have 100 and I'm multiplying it by 3. What would I get?
Sir, the answer is 300, sir.
Very good. 300 with fractions, numerator by numerator, denominator by denominator. 300 over 1, which is the same as 300. $300 though. Okay, cool. Is that my final answer, Mr. Lee?
No, sir, it's not.
So what does this amount represent?
The $300 is that it shows how much he spent at break time on fruits.
Oh, $300 here represents the amount on fruits. Okay. So if we wanted to complete our answer, it says, how much money does Antonio have left? How do I get the answer for that one?
Sir, you take the $300 that you got and you want to subtract it from the 800 because he should have the remaining 5/8. So the 800 that he has, that's the whole amount, 8 over 8. And we're taking away the 3/8 from it, and that will get the 5/8, which would be the amount that he has left now.
I see where you're going. So you're saying that he has 5/8 of the $800 left. So the amount he has left will be 5/8 of the $800. It's an interesting approach. 8 into itself one time, 8 into, we did this already, that was 100. And 100 times 5, this should give us 500. That's approaching it by the fraction. Another way to approach it now, Miss Thorpe, would be to say, if he spent 300 and he had the 800, I can simply take the 300 from the 800 and I will have $500 left. Clear? So this represents the whole amount, the $800, and that would be, if we're using 8s, this represents 8 over 8. The amount that he spent would represent the 3 over 8, and the amount that is left represents the what? The 5 over 8. Let's see if we can set this out horizontally so we can see it. 8 over 8, that's the whole of the money, because 8 divided by 8 will give us 1, which represents all of the money. We take out the first part of the money here, which is 3/8. The 3/8 represents the what? Fruits. Good. And then we are left with 5/8, which represents the what? His change. We could call it his change. Got that? So Miss Thorpe, help us now with a statement. Because you remember, this is PT, we have to come up with a statement. So let's see if we can plug a little statement there. Miss Thorpe?
Yes, sir.
Statement. Yes, dear?
Sir, Antonia has 500. Has 500 change left.
All right. Miss, do you agree with her, Mr. Lee? I mean, the one leading.
Hello? Well, But sir, 500 change left, no, sir, because we don't know 500 what. We have to say Antonio has $500 left. We can't say have change 500 change left because the examiner won't know what
very
is
good.
this.
It's more complete to include the fact that we're talking about dollars. So could this statement work? Antonio has $500 left.
Yes, sir, that can work.
That can work. All right. So lovely, Mr. Lee, for including the emphasis on our units, right? So that we are well aware of that. Let's take another step now. Thank you, Mr. Lee. Thank you, Miss Thorpe, for helping us with the first part. And it's not so hard at all. Once we understand that, fractions are a regular part of life. We sometimes we eat half a dumpling. We might eat a slice of pizza, right? It's just I might have a half cup of water all around us. So let's go to item 2 or part 2. Let me see. Ms. Johnson and Mr. Waugh, you're up for this one. Miss Johnson, could you read the part 2 for me?
Yes, sir. How much money did Kristen have before buying the slice of cake? Explain how you arrived at your response.
All right, tell me what you're thinking.
So first I did, sir, Kristen used 3/5 of the money. No, sir. She used 3/5 of the money and had 2/5 left. Yes, sir, 300 divided by 3/5. Since we're dividing, sir, we'll have to flip the 3/5 and turn it into 5. So 300 times the 5 over 3. I cancel 3, which is 1, and I cancel the 300, which is 100. And 100 times the 5 give me 5. Kristen has $500 before buying the slice of cake.
Lovely. All right, and I understand you, but there's a simpler way of phrasing all of that. Let's go back to this. Kristen, let's think, how much money did Kristen spend?
$300.
How you know that it's $300? Some magician business going on here? How you find out that?
No, sir.
You don't work out anything and you're telling me about $300. How?
Because it said the slice of cake that Kristen bought, it cost the same amount as
we have to
spend on fruits.
Remember, we said that everything is connected, and here we have some conditions. It costs the same amount as Antonio spent on the fruits. So if we are not paying attention, we won't know that is the amount that was spent. Now, it goes a little further, and it says that he spent 2/5 of the amount. She's now left with 2/5. She's left with 2/5. If she's dealing with fifths, then her whole should be what? All of our money must be divided by what?
Sir, 3/5.
Let's put it this way. All of our money must be divided by 5. So what would being divided by 5, put a numerator on it, that would give me the whole. 5. All right. So let's look at this. Kristen has some money that we don't know yet. We don't know this money, right? But we know that when she takes out some money out of it, when she takes out $300 out of it, she is left with 2/5. Seeing that?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, if it is that all of this is in fifths, let me see if I can make this one a little better. Hold on. Let's go here. Good. Let's go back. If this is 2/5, this amount must be related to fifths, and the whole must be related to fifths. Now, what would the whole likely be if we're keeping the denominators the same?
Sir, 5/5?
5/5. Excellent. 5/5. So, what amount then would this represent, the $300 represent?
3/5.
Good. How you get the 3/5? Because you could say what? 5/5 minus what we know to give us the other part, right? So this would be minus the 2/5, and this would be equal to 3/5. So the $300 really represents the 3/5. All right, we're getting somewhere. Now we need to find the whole. So this problem is a finding the whole type of problem. We need to find the whole amount that was there. The way that Ms. Johnson explained it, we are going to have to use, we don't know what the whole is, we'll have to use what we know. We know the what? The 300, right? And what else? We're going to multiply that 300 by what?
3/5.
Well, it's really, we're multiplying by the reciprocal, which would be the 5 over what?
5.
5/3. Okay, so it looks something like this: 300, right, multiplied by 5/3, and then we'd get that. Okay, so finding the whole, whenever we're finding the whole, we will use the reciprocal of what we are looking for there. So this represents our 3/5. Multiply that by what it is that we're looking for. And here, 3 into itself 1, 3 into this, 100, 100 by 5. So this would give us 500. Now we're going to test it to see if it is true. If it is, Miss Johnson, that the whole is 500, and she took a slice that represents 200, that represents 300, her change must be what? 200. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Let us line up the fractions. Remember, we know that 5/5, 2/5, and 3/5 are involved in this. Okay, so the change here is the 2/5, and this is the 200, and the 3/5 would be the 300. Let's test it. $500 multiplied by 2/5 will tell me how much change she had, right? True?
Yes, sir.
Let's test it. We're going to test it piece. 5 into itself one time. 5 into 500 goes how many times? 5 into 500. How many times? 100. So 100 times, 100 times 2 would give me what?
200.
200 over 1, which is the same as $200. So 2/5 of the money is really $200. We proved that. Let us go with 3/5 of the money. So if this is 500 and we multiply it by the 3/5, okay, this would be equal to now 5 into itself one time, 5 into this 100, 100 times 3, $300 over here. So we have proven that the 3/5 really represents what? The amount of money that was spent on the cake. The 2/5 really represents the amount that she had left. And then if she had spent 300 and she now has 200, put those together and I will see the original amount that she has, or had rather. So 200 and the 300, that would give you the $500. Good. So let's see if we can come up with a statement. Explain how you arrived at your answer. So first, we need two little pieces in this. We need to say what the amount is that she had before. So what could we write for that, miss? I've run out of space completely.
Sir, you could write, Kristen has $500 before buying the slice of cake.
Had $500 before buying the slice of cake. Mr. Wall, what could we now give as the little second part? I don't have much space at all. But the second part to get all of the marks now, because it says explain how you arrived at the response. How could you, what could we write for this?
So you can, so for the second part to get all of the marks, you can write what you did in words, which was to subtract 300 from the whole, which will give you 2 over 5, and 2 over 5, which we tested, was $200, and the whole was 5 over 5. So in order to find the 5 over 5, you find out how much $300 was worth, and that was 3 over 5. And then you would multiply 300 over 1 times 5 over 3 in order to get how much the whole was in dollars, and you would cancel 3 into itself 1, 3 into 300 100 times, and 100 times 5 is 500.
500. All right. So based on how I've been using my space here, you see that I don't have the space to put all of that in, everybody. But you know, lining it up now and saying, you know, we are trying to find the whole. Therefore, you know, we are going to be using the 2/5 multiplying that, the 3/5 multiplying that by the 300, right? The reciprocal of the 3/5, which is 5 over 3, multiply that by the 300 as we have it here, and that's how we would get our 500, which represents the whole. When we're using the terms like representing the whole and so on, it says, it signals to the examiner that you understand what it is that you're doing. Okay, again, my work here is not so neat, but you could start labeling these parts. Call this part A, part B, part C, whatever, so the examiner can see the order of your thinking. So you can see that, oh, this person did work out this part first, then they move to that part, then they move to that part. All of those little things help to convince the examiner, the person marking your paper, that yes, I can follow the person's line of thought. Not just throw down something all over the paper, and then the examiner has to be wondering, which no. So if you wanted, you could say this is let me get some ink here. So this might be part A, right? Then this would be part B, then this was part C, this was D, this was E, whatever, something of that nature, to show the order of the thinking. So the person can say, oh, they started off here and they moved logically to this particular place. All right, you two, that would have been Miss Johnson and Mr. Waugh. Thank you very much for that part there. So far, so good. Let's move to the next page quickly. Let me see who next. Miss Miles. Miss Miles has her hand up. Miss Miles, good evening to you.
Good evening, sir.
This part says, what percentage? So here's another concept here. Percentage. Miss Miles, I just landed from Mars. I have no idea what percentage means. What is the basic understanding of percentage? How can you explain it in the lowest possible way? Percentage means?
Percentage is when you multiply a fraction by 100 over 1.
Okay. So percentage, percentum, means something having to do with 100. All right. What percentage of her money did Kristen spend on the cake? Let's go back up here. So now, so Kristen spent how much money?
3/5.
She spent 3/5. And see it up here, so in part A of this one, we can see that Kristen spent 3/5 of the money on the cake. So it would be 3/5. Then what? How do I get my answer here?
Sir, you multiply 3/5 by 100/1.
Okay, so let me see if we can do this. 3/5 multiplied by 100/1. This would be equal to, help me with this now. Switch colors here. Go. Yes. Yes.
Sir, you cancel 105.
Okay. What can go into both of them?
5
5 can go into 5.
one time,
5 can go into 100.
20 times.
Can I do any more reducing?
No, sir.
So now I say numerator by numerator. 3 times 20 would give me what?
60.
My numerator there is 60. 1 times 1 would give me what?
1.
Any number divided by 1 remains the
Same.
Is my answer in dollars or in percentage?
Percentage.
So what percentage of her money did Kristen spend on the cake?
60%.
All right, so let's get, so we do a little working out. I'm just going to put this and call this A, and then for B now, I am going to put some writing here. Let's go B, and help me with the statement now.
Kristen spent 60% of her money
60% of her money on
cake.
purchasing the slice of cake. And my paper lean, that's why this gone up in the air like that. But we will always try to make our work as neat as possible by following the lines. All right. Do we all agree with Miss Miles here for this particular one? If you do, let's put a thumbs up and see, and you can show if we're in agreement here. Let me just double check. Anybody agrees? Nobody there. Let's see. Let me just double check the chat. Okay, I'm seeing the thumbs up. All right, great. Let's go to this one then. All right. Let me see if we can get somebody else. Mr. Thomas, Zaire has his hand up. Zaire, let's go with number 4. Zaire, read for me, please.
Which of the two children originally had more money?
Which of the two children originally, this is an important word here. Let me just originally ink originally had more money. Zaire, what do you think they're asking you to do?
Sir, I think they're asking me to, sir, multiply.
Multiply
No,
what?
Sir, add, sir, add.
Add what?
Sir, can you scroll back up, please?
All right, hold on. Let's scroll back up. These tasks are linked, so we need to double check on them. Let's say, Zaire, let's roll with that scenario here. You leave out in the morning from home and mommy gives you $1,000. You come to school and you buy a cheese patty. How much for a cheese patty now? Cheese patty is about $300.
Yes, sir, $350.
350. Mercy, cheese patty gone. How much change would you get back from your $1,000? How much change would you get back? Yes, somebody saying in the chat, yes, that's the difference. All right, fine. But I want to know how much change? Somebody saying it's 300 for the cheese patty. Is it 300 or is it 350? I don't know. Somebody says 300. 300. All right. So if it's 300, what would you be getting back as your change, sir? I'm not hearing him. Look like we're having a bad connection. Let's just double check. Calling him again. No, not seeing him connected. Let's go. Zaire, is he there? Looks like he's coming back on. Zaire, go ahead. No, I'm not hearing him. All right. So if it is, let me ask someone else then. Let's go with Aquino. Aquino? Hold on, let me see. I don't see Aquino. Let me see if Amika is here. Amika, evening Amika.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. So if it is that Zaire originally got $1,000 to go to school with, lunch money to go to school, that's the money he has. And he spent $300 for this cheese patty. How much would he have left?
$700.
All right, cool. So if he had $700, we could call that $700 his what? His
Change.
How much money did he originally have? If I ask that question, what am I asking you to tell me? I'm asking you to tell me what?
How much he had before he spent the.
Very good. Excellent. How much money he had before he did any spending? How much money he had at first? So they can phrase that question, in different ways. They could say how much money he had originally. They could say how much money he had at first. How much money he had before he did any spending. Any way they can phrase it. But we need to know what it is asking. So you help me with this now. So which of the two children had more money at first instead of saying originally? Which of the two children had more money before they did any spending? What's your thinking, Amika? Let's go back up here and look. When we worked out this part of it, how much money did Antonio have in all?
$800.
And when we work out for part 2, how much money did Kristen have in all?
$500.
$500. So the question is, which of the two children originally had more money?
And
Not hearing you.
Antonio.
All right. So let's see if we can put that in some form of a statement here. Let's go. So what would you write?
Antonio had the most money.
We like to use a little part. This is a tip Miss Young always gives us. Let us use a little part of this statement, this prompt in our answer. So we could say, and I could use a word from it. Which word I could use?
Originally?
So Antonio originally
had more money.
Had more money than Kristen because he, and I'm thinking Antonio here is a boy, he had $800 sign, 800, while Kristen only had $5 sign, come sir, dollar sign, $500. Something like that could work. Could this work? Maybe you guys have fancy and prettier ways of saying it that will give you 100% of the marks, right? But something like this could work. Antonio originally had more money than Kristen because he had 800 while Kristen only had 500. Thank you very much. Stay with me, Amika. You stay, don't move. Let's finish off this little part with you now. Antonio says that Kristen can purchase another slice of cake using the change. You hear this word? Change. Let's see if we can get some ink on this one. Change. Using the change she has. Do you agree? Justify the position you have taken. So let's first look at this. Antonio talking, you know. Antonio is talking about who? Who's Antonio talking about?
Kristen.
Kristen. Stay with me, Amika. So talking about Kristen, he's saying that Kristen can purchase another slice of cake. How much money did Kristen originally have, Amika?
$500.
Good. So Kristen originally had $500. How much money did she spend to buy the cake? Let's go up here. So buying the cake. How much money did she have before buying the cake? So how much money did she buy the cake for?
Repeat, sir.
How much money did she spend buying the cake?
$300.
$300. Okay, so he buys buy the cake. You remember the fruits and the cake are the same amount, so we could look at this fractional part and look at the part that is represented here by the 3/5. That would be the part that she spent, and that we got that information from here, knowing that the cake and the fruits are the same amount. If we go back to the conditions here, it costs the same amount as Antonio spent on the fruits. So if we have to go, we went all the way back to the first part to say 3/8. What is 3/8 of the $800 for Antonio? And that amount is $300, and the slice of cake is also $300. So let's go all the way back. So Kristen would spend $300. What change would she have left?
$200.
So she has $200. Cool. $200. But what is the cost of a slice of cake? What's the cost? We said that the cost was the same amount as this. And what is this?
$300.
So tell me this now. Can she buy one slice of cake that costs $300 with $200, Amika?
No, sir.
In fact, she's going to be what?
Should be $100 short.
Excellent work on that. Let's now put this in a statement. So first of all, it says, do you agree? So we need to establish this part, whether we agree or not. Maybe this alone might be valued 1 mark if this is a 2-mark question. Maybe just agreeing could be one of the mark, right? So if this is 2 marks here, 2 out of 2. To get 2 out of 2, I need to agree as part, and I need to justify as the next part, okay? To get my full 2 marks there. All right, so we need a statement that says you agree or disagree. Amika, help me right now. what do I write? What's your statement? Do you agree or you don't?
I disagree.
Okay, I disagree with Antonio because, and we're going to explain now. So because, yes, help me now. Anything else coming to your mind? Because who? Christian.
Because change.
Christians, all right, you're putting it differently from me. Christians' change is only
$200.
only 200. Hold on, let's get the 200 here. Still 3 dots, sir. Let's see if we can find 2. Yes, $200, and a slice of cake is for.
It's for $300.
Let's see if we can find it. The sign here. Yes, it's for $300. That, hold on, let's put this somewhere. Next new line. That would mean that Kristen is, hold on, she's what?
$100 short.
$100 short. All right. So we could even say, Kristen cannot buy another slice of cake. And I know that you guys will be able to put it nicer than how I have it here, but let's see. I disagree. Read your statement for me now and let's see if that will work.
I disagree with Antonio because Kristen's change is only $200 and a slice of cake is for $300.
Gone? That would mean, continue.
That would mean that
yes, that's why we have to read over that Kristen.
That would mean that Kristen is $100 short. Kristen cannot buy another slice of cake.
Excellent work. First of all, do we agree with Amika there? If you agree, put it, give me a thumbs up, give some reaction. Let Miss Ricketts know that she has done a good job. Yes. All right. Let's go. So let's go all the way back. Thank you, Miss Ricketts. Let's go. Task 11. We were looking at some fractions here, money, and another topic came out as well. Drop the next topic in the chat. There was another topic that came out. Miss Miles would know that topic. She was the one who did it. Yes, I'm seeing it there. Percentages came out as well. So here we have a situation where, again, each task can be connected to the next. It usually is. We went all the way back here to task 4. This part here, let me see what part of it is here. Part 5. Part 5, you have to go all the way back to part 1 in order to see some things so that we can be able to find our answers. All right, that's it for this little part of the presentation here. Let me just ask Miss Young if she has any other things you'd like to highlight with regards to this particular exercise or task. Miss Young?
Yes, sir, Lord, for this one to highlight for those persons who are not aware, your upcoming exam is performance tasks. You'll have one to do for mathematics and the other for language arts. Hence, our focus in the evenings to focus on tasks as it relates to different strands in mathematics and different skills in language arts. So some persons I'm observing in the chat seem not to know, you know, what it is that we're preparing for. So a reminder to all those persons who already know and to those persons who are not aware to make those persons aware.
All right, great job there. I hope that now we are all on the same page with regards to what it is we are doing and the focus of the sessions here in the afternoon.